Hello friends, how are you all doing today? Today we're going to learn a very interesting topic, that is seating arrangements. Let's start this topic with a very interesting puzzle that will act as a brain teaser for you. So shall we get started? Here we go. So the puzzle goes something like this. We have a man, a tiger, a goat and some grass. And there are 4 seats, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now these 4 people or 4 things are to be placed on these 4 seats, keeping certain conditions in mind. Condition number 1, the goat cannot sit beside the grass because it will eat away the grass. Condition number 2, the tiger cannot sit beside the man or the goat because it will eat away both of them. How can you do that? Can you do it? Now let's see how this question can be solved. See, the tiger cannot have the man or the goat as a neighbor. So obviously it has to come in one extreme end. Say seat number 1 is for the tiger. Now the only thing which is unaffected by the tiger is grass. So grass should come in seat number 2. And seat number 3 has to be occupied by something which is unaffected by the grass or which does not affect the grass. So the man has to come in seat number 3 and the goat is left only with one option, that is seat number 4. This question can also be solved something like this. We can have the exact opposite arrangement of what we have formed, like the tiger can come in seat number 4, seat number 3 for the grass, seat number 2 for the man and seat number 1 for the goat. So these are the 2 possible solutions. So wasn't that interesting? This topic is all about such interesting puzzles, and let's see now what can be the different types of puzzles. 1. Linear arrangements in which people will be sitting in a row. 2. Circular arrangements in which different people will be sitting around a round table. 3. Vertical arrangements in which there will be people, say people will be living in different floors of a building, something like this. And lastly, there can be complex arrangements in which there will be more than 2 variables. Like, say there are 6 people, they belong to 6 different cities and they like 6 different kinds of music. So there are 3 variables here: names, cities and type of music. And now let's quickly see some tricky terms and statements which are always a part of these questions. Let's take the example of a linear arrangement. Say there are 6 seats in a row, something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And in these 6 seats, 6 people are sitting all facing the north. So the north would be upwards. Now say it is given that Andy is sitting at the left extreme end. Now what are the extreme ends here? Seat number 1 and seat number 6 would be the extreme ends, and the left extreme end would definitely be seat number 1. And say the next point is Ben is sitting 2 places to the right of Andy. Where would Ben be sitting? So 2 places to the right means we have to take 2 steps to the right. So it would be something like this: 1 and 2. So Ben would be sitting at seat number 3. A common mistake is some students make Ben sit at seat number 4. Please do not commit this mistake. Now say the next condition is that there are 2 people sitting between Andy and Cindy. In this case, Cindy would occupy seat number 4 because there are 2 persons between them. That means seat number 2 and seat number 3. These 2 people are the 2 persons who are sitting between Andy and Cindy. Now say the next condition is that 2 people, Mike and Sarah, are sitting adjacent to each other, or it is given that they are neighbors. Now sitting adjacent or sitting neighbors means one and the same. It basically means both of them are sitting next to each other. So we can see here that we are left only with seat number 5 and seat number 6 where we can have two neighbors. So there can be two cases, either Mike sitting at seat number 5 and Sarah at seat number 6, or the exact opposite, Mike at seat number 6 and Sarah at seat number 5. Now let's take one more example, that of a rectangular table. A rectangular table across which 6 people are sitting, something like this. 3 of them on one side of the table and 3 on the other side. Now let's say it is given that Andy and Ben are sitting diagonally opposite. Here we can have 4 different cases, which are something like these. Andy here, Ben here. Case number 2, Andy here, Ben here. Case number 3, Andy here, Ben here. And the last case, Andy here and Ben here. Now let's take the example of a circular arrangement. So say there is a circular table with 8 seats around it, numbered from 1 to 8, something like this. And say it is given that Andy and Ben are sitting opposite to each other. When you are given such a condition, just look at the opposite seats here. So the combinations for Andy and Ben would be seat number 1 and 5, or seat number 2 and 6, or seat number 3 and 7, or seat number 4 and 8. These are the opposite seats. There could be 2 cases in a circular arrangement. The first one, people sitting around the table would be facing towards the center or facing inwards, which will be something like this. And the second case, people sitting around the table are facing away from the center or facing outwards, which will look something like this. Say it is given that Andy is sitting at seat number 1 and facing towards the center, and Ben is sitting 2 places to his right. So 2 places to the right would be something like this, 1 and 2 towards the right. So Ben would be sitting at seat number 3. Now say it is given that Mala is sitting 3 places to the left of Ben. So Ben is here, 3 places to the left would be 1, 2 and 3. So Mala would come at seat number 8. Now let's take the same example, but in this case, say everyone is facing outwards, that is away from the center. So say Andy is sitting at seat number 1 facing outwards, and Ben sits 2 places to the right of Andy. So now it will be something like this, 1 and 2. So Ben would be sitting at seat number 7. And say Mala is sitting 3 places to the left of Ben. So she'd be sitting somewhere here. It will be like 1, 2 and 3. So Mala would be sitting at seat number 2. So students, always be careful with the data whether people are facing inwards or outwards, because these cases are the exact opposite. Now let's take a confusing statement and try to see how it has to be interpreted. So say it is given that A sits to the left of B, who sits to the left of C. Now here the confusing part is that this who represents whom? Who represents A or B? Always remember, who refers to the person whose name comes just before the word who. So here, who represents B. So the same statement can be reformed something like this into like A sits to the left of B and B sits to the left of C. Let's take another confusing statement. Say it is given that A sits to the left of B and to the right of C. Always remember to rephrase these statements into something like this. A sits to the left of B and the same person A sits to the right of C.